Welcome everyone to the Governance and Operations Committee meeting. Today is Monday, February 13th, 2023. Just a reminder to everyone that members of the public can be present in the council committee room during the meeting, and you can also watch the meeting via Zoom. Today we have two delegations with us, and the first one is from Public Works, Dave Moorhead, Grounds and Road Superintendent, to talk about the flower bed maintenance contract.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thanks, members of council, for having me this afternoon. So the recommendation I have before you today is the award of our flower bed maintenance contract for a 3-year term to MB Landscape Designs in the amount of $133,250 annually for the first 2 years, with a slight increase in the 3rd year, as they have it as a price of living or cost of living increase in the 3rd year. So that'll be negotiated at that time. Quick background on this contract. We do have a number of flower beds throughout the city, within our parks, on our highways, and they maintain all of those throughout the April through September season for the city. There is a deviation between plantings and maintenance. MB Landscaping is responsible for all the maintenance, whereas CIB is responsible for things like our flower pots, hanging baskets, watering, and plantings in various flower beds, such as the ones behind the Riverfront Center and some other various ones. So this one is strictly for the maintenance contract. As you'll see, MB Landscape has been with the city for a long time. Since 1995 was the original contract. In 2018, we spent a little bit of time trying to coalesce everything into one updated amendment. And we've been working on that since 2018. We did redo the contract this year and put it out for tender. That was to just update language, bring certain flower beds up to different service levels based on new landscaping maintenance practices. So we put that out and we only received one bid, and that was MB Landscape. We are very familiar and comfortable with the contractor. There is a cost increase since the last updated contract. However, that was in 2018 and there were no increases since that time. And they will hold their price for 2 years with a slight increase in the 3rd. And that is what I have before you for consideration. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for Dave? Any comments?
If I could, Your Worship, just again, as part of my notes is in looking at budget and whatnot, we are seeing that that this is becoming a larger chunk of what's happening with our budget for trail and our request, and we want to just be cognizant of that. And I think that we've got this in place, but it's something that I think as a council we're going to have to review, with our own staff as far as what's happening with this contract, but also with the CNA, the communities in room conversation as well, and how we continue to keep trail beautiful, but also affordable, that we can maintain this going forward. Because the last thing we want to do is obviously all of a sudden see it sort of drop off or get cut significantly. And again, how do we manage it? Part of that is hard when you have a volunteer group in particular that put in great time, but you always have to be careful with those groups because they don't always carry on. So how do we support them? Do we allow them maybe to say, hey, is the scope of work gotten larger than maybe we'd like it to be, as much as it's fantastic to keep trail beautiful? But those are just some conversations I think we'll be having in the next months and year.
Any other questions or comments?
Well, I just note that there's a significant increase since 2022. So that was the original contract that was there was from 2018.
Correct.
So which increase are you looking at?
Well, they're asking for an increase of 25%.
Yes,
Right.
since 2018.
Since 2018.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So it's a great question. And thank you for looking at that as well. So again, on the face of it, about 4% annually when you think about it, 6 years since the contract had renewed. So maybe a little bit higher than some of the previous years that we had, but a little bit lower than the kind of pressure that we're seeing from CPI in the last couple.
I guess for me, my concern as well would be the 3-year contract. And so we're basically locked in for the next 3 years. If we were looking at making any changes there, it would be kind of difficult to
Possibly.
move forward.
Well, usually contracts have wording that would probably have some sort of escape clause, or that would be for both parties, but that's something that I think at this stage, the one challenge there, Your Worship, is that this is city-owned, so we're going to need someone to do that work. It's not likely that all of a sudden we're just going to be able to find, a whole new set of employees. Sort of, I mean, it's possible, but how do we handle that and the cost? And again, these are positions usually that are seasonal, which makes it a bit more difficult to sometimes think like, hey, we're not having the best of luck trying to attract employees, even full-time these days with some of the competition that's out there. So will there be people that only want to come in for a certain time frame? I mean, there might be, but those are some of the challenges one faces when trying to fill in these types of roles.
Yeah, I would echo Colin's sentiments there. There's only one bid on this contract. So there's not a lot of opportunity or those that are looking to bid on this work. So if it is good to have this 3-year contract in the sense that it could give us that time to plan and look to the future and figure out how the service wants to go proceed.
But this is only the cost of maintenance. This is not the cost of any plants, any dirt, any wood chips, any of that. It's just weeding, pruning,
Correct.
maintaining. We don't deal, they're not doing with watering because that's all part of.
CIPs.
I was gonna say maybe just more to kind of give the new council an understanding of how the CIP and this contract works together. And who's responsible?
Yes.
For what, like,
Yes.
who's buying the flowers, who's not buying the flowers, who's watering the flowers.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 2018, we did take some strides to separate the responsibilities and to make them clear between the two organizations. And MB ended up taking strictly maintenance as their role. And Communities in Bloom manages all the purchasing of plants and the watering contract for all of our flower pots, hanging baskets. And then Public Works maintains all of our irrigation systems within the flower beds.
And if I can ask, how many employees does MB contracting?
They have 2 employees.
Basically with this contract, we're essentially paying them 65.
Sorry, Tia, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I said, so basically we're paying 2 employees 65,000 a year to maintain flower beds.
They have 2 employees in the field and then Sana, who manages the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to break down.
Yeah.
I'm like 75,000, that's pretty good.
Mr. Moorhead, in 2018, was there only one bidder as well? Is this new that we've only had?
That was a contract extension at that time.
Okay, okay.
And we put out a request for an expression of interest, which isn't the full bidding process,
Yeah.
but to try and garner and see if there's any interest in the community for bidding on the contract. And we received nothing.
Okay.
And we thought maybe if we redid the contract, updated the language, brought it up in today's standards, that we might see some success on that. But again, it was one.
Okay. Thanks.
Is there any plans in place to do some xeriscaping, trying to get rid of some of the water thirsty plants?
So as we progress and when there's infrastructure improvements, whether that's roadways or sidewalks or any type of the large infrastructure projects, we do look to go to that type of planting. You'll see that through the highway corridor along Victoria Street. And we slowly turn over our older flower beds. You'll notice a lot of them are the old junipers or cedars, which were very hardy at the time when they were installing these beds. And we can start moving to, but again, we work within the budget of just that as it is. So there's not much wiggle room to install new at this time, unless it's part of a further infrastructure project.
Okay. Councilor Martin.
Just one question, Dave, sorry. The 133,250, does that include associated costs like fuel?
Yes.
Okay, so they
Yeah,
do
that's
have-
their vehicle maintenance and insurance
Okay, all right,
and coverage for their business.
okay, thank you.
Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, can I have someone move the recommendation,
I'll
please?
move. I'll move it.
Councillor Martin and Councillor Benson, all those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you for your time.
So next on the agenda, we have the 2023 trenchless sewer rehabilitation. And we have today Ben Gresley Jones, a transportation services foreman.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for having me today. The purpose of this report is to recommend that we award the contract for the 2023 trenchless sewer rehabilitation to In Situ Form Technologies. This is money that was carried over from the 2022 budget. We were having difficulty finding contractors to perform the work, and we didn't get the tender out. So we put it out late in 2022. We had 3 bids that came in. They were all approved or accepted. The lowest tender was In Situ Form at an amount of $669,529, plus the applicable taxes and fees, which was within the budget, which was set aside at $759,000. And a little background on the trenchless sewer rehab program. It was originally started at the city in 2016 when we had a company called Northern Lights come in and inspect a great deal of our sewers. We worked with True to put together about a 5-section plan, breaking the city down into various areas. And this would be the 3rd time where we would be getting some inspections at the same time. So I think the number was around 5,200 meters of inspecting with reporting for future lining, with about 1,500 meters line on this contract. And so it's a considerably cheaper option than obviously disrupting service and digging up roads for sewer lines that we've seen to be beneficial from the sewer program. That's my report presented today.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Ben? Okay, the recommendation is before you. Can I have someone make that recommendation? Councillor Hanson, second. Councillor Martin. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good luck tonight, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. See ya. See ya.
Okay, so under item number 2, general governance and finance, school district number 20, the scholarship program, and I'll get Ms. Lucchini to speak on that, please.
Sure. So annually, we get a request from school district number 20 to participate in their scholarship program. And for many years, we have provided 2 scholarships in the amount of $650 each. One scholarship is given to a JL Crow student. That scholarship is named in memory of an employee of ours who passed away by the name of Neil Poloni. And it's given to a student who displays exemplary community service, which Neil did quite admirably. The second scholarship is given to a graduate of the cooperative education school, and it is given also to a student who demonstrates support to the community through volunteerism. There's a second request here that has come from the school in 2021, I believe. It might have been 2020. There was a push amongst the region that because the graduation ceremonies had been canceled that year, that perhaps the students could be given a gift or some acknowledgement for their graduation ceremonies being so different that year. We contacted the school, and the school advised us that a gift really wouldn't be what they would recommend, and that really just providing a couple additional scholarships would benefit the students more. We did that year. A request for the additional scholarships didn't come forward in 2021. They did in 2022 ask for the 2 additional $250 scholarships, and it was agreed by council to provide them. And it has come forward again that we provide additional $250 scholarships again this year. So they have kind of morphed out of COVID And whether council wishes to support the two smaller scholarships would be up for you to decide today. But traditionally, we have done the two at $650 each as our ways of supporting the scholarship program annually.
Okay. Any questions or comments for Sandy? Councillor Hanson?
Do the children from the alternate school, do they participate in the Crow graduation ceremonies, and are they able to also apply for those scholarships?
It's a separate scholarship program. So they have their own graduation ceremonies.
Okay.
And they also they have their own application process through through the school itself.
And have they ever asked us for a donation like Crow?
No.
Councillor.
For the two smaller ones, what were the criteria for the scholarship for that, do you know, or was it just a additional?
I think it might have been volunteerism.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to go back a few years on that. Was that right, Paul? Yeah.
So that's just to remind everyone, it's in lieu of a gift.
Mhm.
But we'll still be sending a letter of congratulations from the mayor's office.
We haven't sent letters of congratulations. No. 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 Mm,
I thought we had them.
yeah, I think we did that year. Yeah.
okay.
So,
Yes, so the recommendation is that you approve the provision of two $650 scholarships in 2023, and so advise if you would like to continue with the additional $250 scholarships as has been requested.
so the recommendation is before you. Somebody make that motion? Councillor Butler and Councillor Martin. So the motion is to keep the two $650 scholarships and the additional $250 scholarships.
I think the question was, we need to just, almost like there's almost two separate things there. So
Yeah.
do we want the 650 donations to continue, which I think that's common, and then if there's a decision on that, and then what does council direct staff to do with the other requests?
Sorry, what was the motion for this, what we're voting on right now?
So then I'll move
What's the motion that we're-
So then I'll move that we continue with the existing, and in addition to add the two in going forward, in lieu of any kind of gifts that were being given during the COVID period, so.
Okay. Councillor
Sway.
Hanson, you second it? Okay.
And that's fine. I don't think it's not a separate one. I think it's just some clarity out before as far as what was on the table there. And so that makes sense that we've got that. So we've got a request for the continuation of the 2,650, and for 2023 that we would again do the $250 scholarships that have been requested. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
First and seconder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all those in favor? Carried unanimously. Okay, that's everything. Thanks, everyone.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjournment. Council Benson and Council Wilson.